9 Naughtiest Pre-Watershed TV Moments Ever. Rogue F-bombs, X-Factor smut and nudity. The TV watershed. That holy time of day where anything goes the moment 9 p.m. comes along. Because people take the offense chips out of their brains at that point, and all children are definitely not watching telly anymore. Today, when people catch up with their favorite shows at any time of day, the notion of the watershed is surely on the way out. There are almost certainly 14-year-olds streaming the filthy bits of Geordie Shore right this second. But while TV channels will be as careful as they possibly can to avoid any upset or offense before 9 p.m., there have been plenty of occasions where someone dropped the ball, or at least a rogue F-bomb or two. Here are some of the classic moments where people spat out their tea and double-checked the clock. 1. Shaun Ryder fails to not swear on TFI Friday. It was always going to be a bad idea having Happy Monday swearaholic Shaun Ryder on TFI Friday, which went out at 6 p.m. So, on one channel you could be catching up with Neighbours, and on the other you could watch Shaun say F***K several times. After he shouted the word several times during a performance in a subsequent show, Shaun was banned from appearing live on any Channel 4 program. After guest Ewan McGregor also once swore on the show, host Chris Evans was forced to pre-record the program from then on. 2. The Simpsons keep saying wanker. Interestingly, the jovial term wanker isn't all that rude in America, and so The Simpsons received very few complaints when guests U2 and Mr. Burns both said it in the episode Trash of the Titans. However, when a repeat aired unedited over in the UK pre-watershed, the episode in question received 31 complaints to regulator Ofcom in 2008. To be fair to Channel 4, they could hardly have expected The Simpsons to have contained 2 wankers, even though U2 were clearly in the credits. This didn't stop the cartoon using the word once again in an episode featuring Liam Neeson. Let's hope Sky don't make the same mistake. 3. Popsters get abuse thrown at them on Saturday mornings. Considering shows like Going Live and Live and Kicking featured live phone-ins from the public, usually kids, we are actually amazed this sort of thing didn't happen more often. One of the most awkward and shocking moments in TV history has to be when family pop group 5 Star were asked why they were so F***king crap by a caller live on air. He was swiftly cut off, which we think was a shame. He might have had more of an eloquent point to make. Then there was jazz pop group Matt Bianco in 1984, who were called a bunch of wankers on Saturday Superstore. It's not big, it's not clever, but it is funny. 4. Pretty much any episode of This Morning or The Jeremy Kyle Show. We're not totally sure how ITV gets away with it, but most mornings are full of so much smut, nudity and shocking antics that we are amazed that they don't get more complaints on a daily basis. We are so desensitized now that when Paul Ross comes on air and gets his rectum examined live on air while you eat your breakfast, no one even bats an eyelid. Or when Eamon Holmes casually asks a guest addicted to sex whether she might as well just do prostitution to make a business out of it. Most episodes feature some kind of discussion about adult topics that would normally be kept for a late-night phone-in on local radio. Then there's Jeremy Kyle. Every single episode has people effing and jeffing constantly, albeit bleeped, while most segments will be some kind of argument about some kind of sex act. At 9.30 I'm every day bound to hear Jezza speak about the most filthy of saucy escapades. Last year, Ofcom told ITV off for an item in which one guest described another as smelling of fish and raw sex, a really bad, smelly fishy smell. Jeremy Kyle then joked, "I nearly asked you why, but I don't want to go down that route, so to speak." Jessa also asked them about orgasm noises, turning to the security guard and asking, "Steve, do you know your average orgasm noise for a woman? I've got to ask you this, they'll probably cut it out, have you got an orgasm face?" It's 9:30 a.m. 5. Jeremy Clarkson makes a prostitute murder gag on Top Gear. Even by Clarkson's standards, this was perhaps a controversial joke too far, especially since it aired on the BBC, and before 9 p.m. segment mocking lorry drivers, Jeremy joked that they only care about fuel prices and killing prostitutes, referencing Suffolk strangler Stephen Wright, a former trucker who murdered 5 prostitutes in Ipswich in 2006. "This is a hard job, and I'm not just saying that to win favor with lorry drivers, it's a hard job," he said. Change gear, change gear, change gear, check mirror, murder a prostitute, change gear, murder. That's a lot of effort in a day. BBC spokeswoman said at the time, "The vast majority of Top Gear viewers have clear expectations of Jeremy Clarkson's long-established and frequently provocative on-screen persona. This particular reference was used to comically exaggerate and make ridiculous an unfair urban myth about the world of lorry driving, and was not intended to cause offense." Sorted, then. 6. Christina Aguilera returns the X Factor into a burlesque show. Right, we'll let off Christina for the fact that her song was from the movie Burlesque, which kinda gives the game away. ITV should have really known that chances were that it was going to be a raunchy performance. That being said, it's hard not to wince at the gig, which went out before 9 p.m, with millions of kids watching at home, while Christina and her dancers pretty much humped every inch of the stage. Will someone please think of the children? Nearly 3,000 people complained that Christina's performance, along with Rihanna's on the same night, were far too sexually explicit. However, it ruled that, while Rihanna's routine featured some gentle thrusting, it was suitably limited. It all seems rather tame when you consider that Nicki Minaj's video for Anaconda has been shown pre-watershed on music channels loads of times since. 7. Darren Brown suffocates himself with a plastic bag. Without saying not to try this kind of stunt at home, but it was probably still foolish of UK TV Channel Watch to repeat it on a Sunday morning. During his show Something Wicked This Way Comes, illusionist Darren put a plastic bag over his head and walked on glass. After the inevitable complaints, well, 5. Ofcom ruled that children could have imitated his clearly dangerous behavior. UK TV said the program was broadcast in error at the time of day. What, did someone press a Darren Brown button by accident? 8. The Sex Pistols are pushed to be as rude as possible on a chat show. The all-time classic moment illustrating the perils of live TV, and a moment which single-handedly ruined the career of broadcaster Bill Grundy overnight. In December 1976, the relatively unknown band became instantly famous thanks to this disastrous interview, which quickly descended into a collection of swear words after Grundy goaded the band into turning the air blue.